Welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host Scott. Hope you had a good week in trading this week. We had a kind of a rough week because of NVAX. NVAX was really got clobbered this week. We're going to talk about that. We're going to just kind of focus on that one tonight because the portfolio is gotten beat up as well. The market was pulling back pretty good. So we'll just kind of fly through some of that, but we're going to focus on NVAX tonight and talk about that a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump over that portfolio. So here's our portfolio. As you can see here, we've got a red market today across the board. A lot of red on our portfolio as well. It's been that way all week. We did have Bitcoin pulling back pretty good, so that's something that ties to this hut here. But everything's been red. It was a red week. It was a downward trend on everything. But let's focus on this one here because this is the one that really had the worst week of all. The rest of them kind of bled down. NVAX really got clobbered. Let's pull up that 5-day chart and show you that. You can see here we were at this week way up here at the 215, 217 level. If you recall, earlier in the week we were selling some, so we got some sold that we were in the green. So we really did pretty good on that. We had one or two lots that we still had that were not quite high enough to sell yet. But if I'd known this was coming, they would have got sold. But we don't know that kind of thing. So what happened was we did see this big drop on Tuesday, and then that did come back somewhat. And we talked about that in the last video. We did climb back a little bit, but then we continued to fall the rest of the week, and it was really a rough week. And today we kind of looks like we did finally. Yesterday evening and today we did kind of find a bottom, even though we ended up a little bit red today, less than 1% red, and that was a pretty good hold. Of course, we're way down here at the 160 level now, but really made a pretty decent comeback for the week as far as just finding the bottom. That's what I wanted us to do, and that's what we did. It looks like we'll see if that holds up next week. But so let's talk about what might have caused this. Well. One thing we've got going on with NVAX right now, I mean, we've had a couple of approvals, but they're just small approvals, like Indonesia and I forget what the other one was, but we've had a couple of approvals, and but they're not very big, not a lot of doses. So we're still waiting on those big ones like Australia, Canada, Europe, UK, US even. So we've got to get some of these big ones under our belt before this thing's ever going to take off. And you got to remember that NVAX, as far as the outstanding shares, it has very few outstanding shares compared to stocks like Moderna and Pfizer and things like that. So it's easier to manipulate a stock that has fewer shares. And believe me, these hedge funds and these people that go in there and short it, they can move these stocks and make money both ways, and that's what they do. And so that's why you really gotta, you gotta hang on when you believe in a company and what it's doing, and because especially like right now, if this news is right around the corner, which I believe it is, based on if you go and look at an article, it was Australian Health Minister NVAX. Google that sometime and go look at that article where he spoke about NVAX, and he said it would be days before the approval here. So that sounds like maybe next week. So we'll see. But nothing's changed as far as NVAX goes. And so I'm still confident in it, even though it got beat up terribly this week. If you were like me, you took advantage of that and bought into it as it dropped. Now, do I wish I would have bought in a little bit later in the week? Yes. But when I see a good price on it, I buy. So let me tell you what I did this week. We bought on December. Let me go back to the charts. All right, so we bought December 1st. Let's go back to that and take a look at that. That would have been Wednesday. So we saw Wednesday, and when it got to a price of about 195, right in this area here, we started buying, and we bought all the way from 195 all the way to up to 198. We thought it was going to keep going, and it didn't. It stopped. So we bought some on that day, and then we saw it drop off on the next day. So we're stuck in these shares that we bought on this day because it dropped like this. We're not going to sell them for a loss. But what I did on this day, because it fell so bad, I said, well, I'm going to try something in after hours, and because I felt like once the market closes, and I know this sounds paranoid, but it's true. Once the market closes, I think a lot of times these big boys and these hedge funds and that I like to refer to them, they go home or they take the rest of the day off or whatever, but they don't seem to mess with the stock as much because you can see the low volume in after hours. And so it has a tendency to go up because it's just regular people like me and you that's buying it. So that's what I was hoping would happen yesterday, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. And there's a little bit of that news came out about the Australia health minister that was going on too, and I think some of that was part of the reason this thing went up in the after hours too. So what happened was is I bought in at 162 in the after hours, and I was able to, and I bought a good bit of shares because my game plan was no matter how many shares you buy, you're going to sell those before that market after hours closes, whether it goes down or up. So the game plan was to do that, and that's what I did. And I bought a good bit of shares, and we sold them. Bought them at 162, and we sold them at 165. So we made pretty little good bit of money on the after hours. Okay. All right. So today, what we did is something very similar. I had to actually went to a movie today and dinner, and so we bought before we went into the movie. I bought it at 158 today, and I put in some sell orders for 161.50, and it hit it. So we were able to get rid of it. You can see there it got up to 162.72, or maybe even higher, but I wasn't watching it. So, but it got to my price of 161.50, which is $3.50 a share, and I didn't buy near as many shares as I did in after hours last night because I wasn't going to be necessarily watching it. So anyway, but we made a good little trade on that today. But this is a rough little fall for this week, and it's been a rough fall since this period here. So you can see, but we did sell most of this stuff here, and we made some decent money last week on our sales and first of this week. So we had I think we're just getting close to getting even on the ones we had sold for a loss, and so I think we were kind of at square one, but we got knocked back down here now. So, and we have shares that we just bought this week at 190, and we're way down at 160. But this can all change in a day. We've seen it before, so wouldn't surprise me if it didn't change. All right. So again, I want to talk about just the specifics here of NVAX. We've got this variant that's out there. They're working on that. They're already, developing a vaccine for that. But a lot of the vaccines were down this week. We talked about it earlier in the week about how they all took a hit that one day at the same time. But Moderna has held up pretty good. Pfizer's held up pretty good. Moderna was down about 6% for the week, nothing like we were. But again, they've got vaccines in arms. We don't, and so that's part of our problem. And that's why That's why they were able to drop us as like they were because they put the fear in people and they drive this thing down, and people get scared and they sell their shares. And that news is probably right around the corner. Now, I am going to be concerned if the news comes out where we get Australia approved, or UK or Europe or something like that, or India. If we don't get a good pop from something like that, or if we can't hold that, then we've got some issues. Okay, but until that happens, I'm still strong on Novavax, and I'm gonna hang in there with it. So, and again, we've done real well with it since I think it was 2015 when I first invested in it. So I'm not giving up on it. I really feel comfortable with it still. It's been a painful week, no doubt. Now, again, I've talked about before, when you got a stock going down like this, you got to think about three things. Is the market broke? Okay, that's the first one. And the market is broke. If you go look at the the Dow, S&P, and the Nasdaq over the last few weeks, we see a downward trend there. So that's part of the issue. Second part, I always like to ask myself is the company broke? And first answer to that is absolutely not. The company's still not. There's nothing broke about this company. It is doing everything it can to get these things approved, and it's got a good vaccine, very high efficiency, and those kind of things. So it's definitely not the company that's broke right now. Now, could we get an approval, and that would be a better thing? Yes, but the company itself is not broke. They're working hard, and I trust them on that. Third thing is the stock broke, and I think we've got a broke stock. I mean, you've got some support levels that we just fell through, and but we're in another support level right now. If you go look at the charts, let's go look at that chart again. You can see here we're kind of close to this level here. I think we kind of went through that support level, but you can see here we've been down this way right in here. Let's look at a 6-month chart and look at, if you go right here and look at that line across there. Okay, this was a resistance level before, and we're in that resistance level again. All right, so we're either gonna do this, or we're gonna go through it like this at some point. So I think we're gonna get some news next week, and maybe we'll do this. Hopefully we'll get back up to this 200 and something level. With any news, we could be 200, 250. But we're going to watch it. I don't think we're going to do this, but I could be wrong. Depending on what the market does, the market could make us get down here. But I'm thinking we're going to be hopefully staying here. Maybe we're on the support side. The support side. It looks like based off the last 2 days, this may be the support. Okay, instead of it being resistance, it may just be support. That's what I'm hoping, and we'll just have to watch it next week, see if it can hang on to this level until the news comes out, and or either just kind of start bleeding back up. But that's going to be all market probably to make it start going up. The market's going to have to do good as well. All right, so hope you are comfortable if you're holding that. Just hang in there. That's not financial advice. You sell it if you feel like you need to sell it. I don't like to sell things for a loss, and I'm just going to keep trading it in the meantime. And as I trade, if I make it maybe a bad trade one day, because I'm not going to hang on to any more shares than I've got. I've got all the shares I want, but I don't mind buying it during the day and then selling those before the day's over with, or before after hours is over with. Going to maintain that share level. Okay. All right, until we get in the green and start making money on all these things. So, and it can be in a matter of days. Just one little piece of news can drive this thing up. So, hang in there. I'm going to make it short tonight. Hopefully, that's the main focus of the videos, NVAX, because that's what I'm loaded up on right now. So, hope you had a good week. Next week, at least, hopefully, it's a lot better for me, and we'll see. This is the way it goes. Sometimes it ain't always up. All right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.